while people are settling in, I'll introduce myself, and then we're going to go through a little somatic exercise to start class, actually. But welcome to Feed Your Soul. This is the first time this is happening at Dragonfly, this kind of daily wellness event. So this is really exciting. I'm really grateful to be the first presenter. Come on in. No, you're good. My name is Bridgette. I'm Bridgette Slavin. I am a mental health counselor by day. I guess you could say that's my job. I used to be a professor of medieval and Irish history, so I have changed my career. I was also an archaeologist, so I've done a bunch of things in my life. But I got very involved in mental health counseling because of my work through Dragonfly, which is as an intuitive medium. So I am a medium. I'm giving some readings today afterwards. But all of the work with grief and all of the things that we all come to get readings about and intuition and to help us through our day-to-day lives is what kind of guided me towards mental health. And since then, I have been on a journey of learning about not just what we would call top-down counseling, but learning, what are the thoughts that are going on in my head and why am I having a mental health issue, right? My anxiety, my depression. But also how they show up in the body. And that's really what we're here to talk about today. So today is going to be a little bit of an introduction of some theory as well as some practice. So first I'm going to have us practice an exercise. So before you even start, just relax, let yourself relax. And the first thing I want you to do is take your index finger and put it together with your thumb. Okay, and relax, and just take a little breath inside your nose, breathe. And while you're breathing, just a regular breath, I'd like you to pay attention to where your breath is coming from in your lungs, right? Where is it? Is it coming from the top, from the bottom of your lungs? Without trying, where do you notice it?
Bottom.
You've got the bottom? A lot of people at the bottom. Oh, look at you, yoga breathers. Okay, who's got the top? Yeah. So naturally, when we hold this finger, the index, unless we're really thinking about it, we tend to just naturally breathe from the top of our lungs, right? Now I want to show you a different option. Take your ring finger. It's a little more awkward. Press it to the thumb. And now, take another breath. Just breathe. And notice if there's any changes to your breath, where it's coming from. So now you notice the top.
Yeah.
Bottom.
Who notices the bottom? Okay, yeah. So it's interesting. So technically, this finger should be opening the bottom. So some of you are already breathing from your full rib cage, right? Now this comes into it because these are, what I want to give some ideas about are some day-to-day ways that you can actually calm your body without having to think about it very much. Doesn't that sound kind of nice? I don't have to talk myself through my anxiety. I can just put two fingers together while I'm watching TV and breathe. I don't have to think about it. And so the index finger is going to help with breath, but the ring finger, unless you notice that you love the index finger, gives you a deeper breath, the ring finger is actually going to help you breathe from the bottom of your lungs up, meaning you're going to get more air, getting more oxygen to the brain. Also, your body's naturally pressing on the vagus nerve, which we're about to talk about, and it's going to help you relax without having to think about it. So just a thought, a little practice there. So today, what we're going to talk about in the next 45 minutes, what is polyvagal theory? That's a little bit of the theory part. The nervous system, how the nervous system actually works, the three states, and how it impacts the body. And then some introduction to somatic healing approaches. How do we applicate this into our lives? And then some time for Q&A. So really, the foundations of this is all about the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is a key part of what we call the parasympathetic system. I do not expect anyone to walk away and remember all these words. It's okay. You'll get the gist of it. But the I can't even say it out loud. Parasympathetic Thank you. Parasympathetic, I should drink more coffee. Nervous system regulates the involuntary movements of our body, the things we don't have to think about, our heart rate, our digestive system, our breathing, our digestion, so the way that the body just naturally goes about doing its business, where the sympathetic is the more active component of our nervous system. So it connects to the brain, and it starts at the base of the neck, as you can see up here, and it basically goes through all of our organs, right? It is your nervous system for the most part, right? So essentially it acts as a communication highway between your brain and the rest of your body. Now, Stephen Porges, identified and came up with this idea of the polyvagal theory in psychology, or neuropsychology, and basically identified that it's a process that is nuanced in the way that the autonomic nervous system goes beyond just fight or flight. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. And it describes how that vagus nerve is related plays a central role in how our body responds to stress, both how it reacts to stress and how it reacts to calming down as well, calming and going. So the theory emphasizes 3 broad phases of the vagal nerve. The first, which is the relaxed state, is up north, up at the top there. It's the parasympathetic nervous system in a relaxed state. It's called the ventral vagus nerve system. You don't need to know that. What you need to know is in this state, it's characterized by when our heart is at a normal rate, we feel relaxed, we're social, but we're calm, engaged, we're not isolated, instead we're social, we have regular activity, right? We feel good. It's our ideal baseline. We're feeling pretty good. When the sympathetic nervous system goes into mobilization, right? The sympathetic nervous system acts. This is when we have an increased heart rate, right? This is when we start to go into action. In a good sense, right? In a good sense, we might engage with this on purpose, where we're engaging in sports or some kind of activity. We're exercising, we're dancing, we're having a good time. So at this point, we have an increased heart rate, our blood pressure goes up, our hormones change, we start to release oxytocin in the brain, etc. Right? So it's emotions that feel good. We might feel active, playful, and energized. In a negative state, this is when we're headed to fight or flight, right? We might feel stressed, anxious, or feel fearful, right? The imaginary T-Rex is coming to chase you down the street or whatever, and your body goes into flight mode, right? So they have 2 sides of it. However, the third state is called immobilization or shutdown, and he calls it the dorsal vagal. And that's when the body calms down, right? Again, the vagus nerve calms down. And so in a healthy way, this is how we feel when we meditate. When we're just relaxed, we're calm, we're kind of blissful, we're zened out, right? But if it gets too much, we can actually go from mobilization, and this is what happens with trauma, and I have a picture to show that. We might go into actually like shutting down. The body gets so hyper that then it freezes and it can't do anything, or it goes floppy. In a negative way, how many in here have ever gotten into a funk for whatever reason, and you feel a little lonely, a little hopeless, a little sad, you're not motivated. Normally, hopefully we go through that phase and we get out of it, right? But some of us don't, right? And that's where depression can set in. So any questions at this point? We're headed out of the theory, just so you know. I just want to explain. One of the reasons why breathing, deep breath work, which we're going to practice more of, helps our nervous system is your spine. When you breathe from your lungs, right? If you think about how big your lungs are, it actually, that deep breath pushes back on the vagus nerve and sends a little calming signal to the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve says, oh, we can calm down now, right? So we don't even have to think about it. That's why often, whenever I'm working with a patient or client, and I'm like, let's take some deep breaths, and they're like, oh God, the deep breath, it's like telling somebody, just calm down. Nobody really calms down when you say that. So when you say, just take a couple deep breaths, a lot of times people have that reaction. But when you actually know the benefits of it, it's really helping your body. You don't even have to think, you just have to breathe to begin to take your body from that hypermobilized state down to the calm. And so the nervous system state shows up in our body no matter what. We're always, our nervous system is really always active in one phase or another. So for example, we could go into chronic sympathetic dominance when we're in a traumatic experience or having a flashback, right? People who have PTSD. And that can look like hypervigilance, tension, anxiety, right? Has anyone in here ever experienced being so anxious? Like the holidays just ended, right? Like who is anxious? Like I'm always anxious, right? We're busy, we're kind of stressed. And some people, if you've ever been in a state where you're so anxious that you almost feel electricity shooting through your body, like that level of, or hypervigilance, like when, that is your body in a hypersympathetic state, right? Or you can have dorsal dominance, meaning that immobilized state that I was just talking about, where you literally can go numb, right? So some people who are in such a severe depression, whose bodies just cannot take this level of anxiety anymore, their body, their nervous system will shut down because they just can't hold that state that long. So they're not doing anything on purpose, right? So somatic healing recognizes that trauma and dysregulation, meaning the inability to regulate our emotions, to stay calm, to figure out, ooh, I'm anxious right now, I gotta calm down. It's stored in the body, right? The body keeps the score. Has anyone heard of this? Like our trauma is held in our body. It's also held in our energy system. So I can speak to that really because I'm at Dragonfly today. So I can talk about our auras and our energy bodies. I'm going to tune into that too. So this is a way to deal with, somatic healing is a way to deal with trauma, anxiety, depression, just through the body, and not having to think about it too much, which can be very relieving when you're in the moment, or you've got some serious trauma that your mind doesn't need to revisit all the time. So I just want to identify these. People talk about the 4 F's of trauma. There are really kind of 5. Most of us know about fight or flight. So flight is when we're so anxious, we're so scared in the moment that we fly, we leave, right? I don't like it in here. And this can happen, maybe it's not trauma, but we still respond. How many people have ever walked into the mall or a store and you're like, I can't do this today, it's too overstimulating, I gotta go, right? So that you're in flight, like I can't, overstimulated, my nervous system can't take this today. Versus flight or fight, which makes sense, right? So a lot of times people who have anger issues really are struggling with some kind of trauma from the past or something where when their automatic nervous system gets keyed up, they want to fight back, right? Like, ooh, you're gonna hurt me, I'm gonna hurt you first, right? It's not because they're, right, and actually people probably, anyone who's experienced autism or people who have autistic rage or a trouble regulating their emotions, right? Little kids, they actually are constantly in this state because they can't express what they're feeling. Okay, then we have other ones that, freeze, right? The body just shuts down, I'm just gonna freeze, right? Connected to that is actually flop. Flop is another F that people don't often talk about. This is when the body literally plays dead, right? So anyone who's had sexual trauma in particular, or some kind of issue where they're like, ooh, why didn't I fight back? Why did I just sit there? Anything, right? It could be just, it's because your body went so into the immobilization state that it was trying to protect itself. And then finally, fawn is actually people pleasing. Fawn is when we get into a state, and a lot of healers and people who are empathic do this, where they're like, oh, guess what? I'm not safe right now, right? So think about this. Anyone who lived in a household when you were younger, maybe there was some fighting going on, between parents or something, and or some disruption, and you decided that if I'm good, it'll stop. As long as I'm good, as long as I behave, everyone's going to be okay. And that's kind of fawning. Fawning is somebody comes up and says something to you, and you're like, oh, I really don't want to do that. I don't like that at all. My whole body has gone cold. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And you're like, sure, I'll do that, because you just need it to stop and go away. Anyone ever have that experience? Yeah, fawning is more popular than we recognize. Okay, so somatic healing. So let's get into the fun part, because that's why we're here. Body awareness. So what we're going to do is tune into the body. We're going to regulate our nervous system by learning some calming responses, and then also movement. So how can we, so when we're anxious and when we're nervous, we have to know which way to go, right? So if I'm actually kind of anxious, where I'm really agitated and I feel like I can't relax, right? I need to figure out how to let that energy go through me. So what I don't need actually is to calm down and meditate when I'm like that, because I'm not going to relax. I need to shake it out. I need to dance. I need to let that move through me. I need to do a couple moving things versus, when I need to really calm down. Then maybe it's good. So here's a couple examples that we're going to work on. The first is breath work. So we did a little bit with the breath work. A couple examples that we talk about in the mental health world is box breathing. They use it in the military as well. It's when you inhale for 4, you hold for 4, and you exhale for 4. So let's give that a little try, right? So we're going to inhale through the nose first. So we're going to inhale for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale now from the mouth. 2, 3, 4. Very good. How do you feel? I mean, it was just one breath. Okay. Now, in the spiritual world, I think I tend to prefer, it's even more effective when you exhale longer, okay? One of the things about the deep inhale is we want to think about inhaling again from the base of our lungs, a good yoga breath. You push your diaphragm out, you fill your lungs from the bottom, and what you're doing, right, not only are you getting oxygen that goes to the brain and calms the body down, you're pushing out on that nerve. And so when we hold the breath, we're pushing on the vagus nerve, it relaxes the body. As we exhale, we also bring ourselves back to the present, so it's mindfulness. So let's try 2 rounds of breathing in. Let's breathe for 6, hold for 4, and release for 8. So here we go, in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Holding 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, so now you can just breathe at a regular pace, but when you do a series of these, right, it really relaxes the body, right? This is great when you're actually in the moment, right? So you open up the fridge, the blueberries fall out, well, maybe not or whatever, and instead of saying expletives and all of that, maybe take a couple deep breaths and just tell yourself, that is the best thing that's happened to me today, right? Make a joke out of it. It's what gets me through sometimes, right? So, and take a few deep breaths. But when it's really bad, or you're really stressed, or something, go to the bathroom, take a pause if you can, and just take a couple deep breaths, reset, get on your way. So here's a new one too. This one's fun. has anyone done alternating nose breaths? Okay, you've done this. So anyone who wants to join me, we are going to take our thumb, our right thumb, to our right nose. This might be hard and squishy if you've got a cold or something, but hold it closed with the right. Inhale through the left. Take your index finger and switch. Exhale through the right. Now you inhale through the left. Switch. Exhale. So again, that's a bilateral movement as well. I'm going to talk about bilateral impacts as we all are like, bilateral movements to the body help work both sides of your brain. You got to think about that, right? And if you're thinking about it, you're shutting down the left brain, which wants to analyze, and you open up the right side that lets your body just work with the subconscious. So you're doing two things. You're breathing, you're also calming your mind and stopping that stimulation. Other ways that are fun, I'm trying to move through because I'm actually like it's a hard cut at 10:45, are breath and sound. So this is, it turns out that singing and humming and chanting are awesome for your vagus nerve, because your vagus nerve starts right up here, it goes down your throat. So every time you're talking or singing or humming, you vibrate that nerve and it makes you feel good. This is why, even if you can't sing very well, singing and humming, belting it out in the shower, in the car feels good. It makes you happy, right? We never are crying while we're singing. We might be crying to sad music, but when we're actually like, so not only are you sending good vibrations through you're increasing your vibe, you're also working this. So humming or singing, so I do this a lot if I'm alone. I come home from work, it's a heavy day. I've seen 10 people and there's a lot of heaviness or whatever. If I'm alone and I can, I pop my headphones buds in, I crank some music and I sing while I do my nightly duties, right? I scoop my cat litter, I do my dishes, I do the things. Cats love it. My animals come from everywhere when I sing. They like when I pick them up and I sing with them, and they have their own songs. Each one has their own song. They feel the vibration. They love it. So they feel that as well. So singing, humming, just, if you're anxious, pick a hum. Pick a whatever you need to get through it. Another one too is as you exhale, you say ah or om, right? So let's try ah, right? It's okay, we'll be silly. So let's take a nice breath in through the nose. As you exhale, just ah. Yeah, I love that some of you are like ah, right? That's good, let it go. Ah. So that's good, it's moving that. One of my favorites that I didn't know about was to buzz like a bee, because you're really vibrating the nerves. So when you inhale, you exhale, it's weird, but it really helps, yeah. And then you laugh and you're increasing your mood, right? Then you can chant. So any kind of, if you have a mantra, if you have a, now I can't remember any of the Om Ganapataye Namaha, like I'm probably saying that wrong, but a chant that you like, music that comes with the chant, or a mantra. So who in here knows Lee Harris's work? Like I know Sarah and I, you all have to go out and find Lee, L-E-E Harris. He's an energy channeler, and he has great information. He's all over the web. He gives monthly forecasts of the energy, but what he also does is he has quite a few musical mantras, and so things like, I don't mind my singing, but like, I release all the energy and emotions that are not mine, right? I can't sing, but doing that kind of thing, right? Where you're singing about what you're letting go of, you're chanting. So give that a go. Any questions about these? Okay, next. Some of these you might already know, but somatic healing, as I mentioned, instead of worrying about like, oh my God, why am I so anxious right now? Sometimes we just need to relax in the moment. And we can do this by exploring our posture, getting into our mindfulness state. And so some of the ways to relax, to slow the body down, include child's pose. Does anyone know what that is in yoga? Like you like are on your knees and you spread out. I'm not going to do it here. Okay. And cat cow, right? Cat cow when you're on all fours, and as you inhale, you know, bend your back, inhaling, exhale, you push out, right? Again, vagus nerve, right? So that's all great. Two ones that you might not know. The first one I'm going to show you is called the butterfly hug. And this is where you take your thumbs and you crisscross them and you place them right by your collarbone, like right above your heart area on your chest. And you take one side, then the other, and you tap, right? Now, some people are like, okay, I've seen people just do it this way or this way. But what we're doing here is, again, we're vibrating the vagus nerve. And I've seen practitioners of EMDR do this. And again, we're doing bilateral stimulation. And what we're doing, even though you don't realize it, is because your hands have to move one and the other, there's a part of your brain that is kind of tuned into that, right? And it takes the left brain and keeps it busy so that the right brain, which is where we're going to deal with emotions and our subconscious, can work through things. So at the EMDR, which is using eye movement bilateral stimulation, where people watch, you just kind of follow the finger or the light back and forth while you remember a traumatic memory. And basically that idea in that therapy, it helps remove, like you still have the memory, but it removes the emotional impact of the memory, okay? And this is one of the ways people, can do that. But even just on a day-to-day, it's calming. Another one, and this is great when you're in a mental spiral. So if you find you can't stop thinking, try this one. So hand up, fingers out, boop, 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 like that. Because your body, it's bilateral, you gotta do it. Then another one, okay, this one's harder, you really can't. Like if you're literally obsessing about a thought, you can't stop, take your thumb in one hand, put it up, and the pinky out in the other, right? And then you gotta switch. I have to really think about it, right? Some people can just go back and forth and back. I'm getting better, but I still, right? And again, it makes you laugh, right? So I can't be thinking about my obsession, like why am I not this, or why didn't he call me, whatever, because I tried this. And it just gets you out of the loop, right? So ways to get it if you are anxious and you have a lot of energy inside, like you're having that kind of anxiety, not mental anxiety. These are good for mental anxiety, but for physical anxiety, the best way, how dogs just shake it? They get up and they're, right? Or you see ducks, like they get into a little fight and then they just go away and they wag their tail and they're fine. What they're doing is resetting their nervous system. So if you have that, just shake it out, even if you can't shake it or you're in your chair, stimming, how people will move their hands or rock back and forth, right? These are ways that we keep the body calm. And so it helps when we need to move. I'm anxious, and that's what they're doing naturally. They don't realize it, but they're anxious, and so they start moving. Another one, this is again, probably if you're alone, is called Wipe It Away. It's like Tai Chi. You just imagine, I'm wiping my problems away, right? Just wipe them away. Or what we call Goddess, or God if you want, but basically it's like yoga. You put your feet apart, you squat, you got your hands to your heart, you inhale, exhale. So really you're just moving and using the breath, right? This is why yoga is so good. Really it's meant to help us get to the point where we can then be calm and meditate, right? Because we can't really, it's hard to just jump from I'm anxious. See, I'm doing it because it feels really good. So another thing that I often do, if you're able, not everyone's able to walk around the block or take a walk, but you can do something even if you're just seated or just shake your hands. Okay. Right, so other last minute things, yep, because it's time to wrap up. Mindfulness exercises, be present. to your body or what's around you. One of the ways we can practice is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or we can just do 3. So everyone take a minute, look around the room and find 3 things that are purple. That's an easy one. Using your senses, your eyes, right? So, have we found 3 purple things? Okay. Now, this one's harder. Close your eyes and try to identify 3 things that you hear. How'd that go? Okay. And so usually the biggest ones are sight, sound, and now another thing would be if you were around and able to reach out and touch 3 things. You know, what do my pants feel like? What does this chair feel like, right? They're different. And what you're doing is you're just grounding yourself back into the moment, right? Because when we're anxious, when we're having some kind of big response, what we are not is in our body, okay? So that's a big thing. So doing a body scan too, what am I feeling? And I really encourage you, and those of us who get to do, or who do this, when you really start to become aware, as you go throughout your day, pause, take little 30-second breaks, and just like, how am I feeling? Like, where's the tightness in my body? All of that, right? So how am I feeling emotionally? Where do I feel it in my body? And do that. When you meditate, and then respond appropriately. Do I need a couple deep breaths? Do I need to shake it out for a second? Another thing, when you meditate, imagine that vagus nerve filled with light and just sending healing, relaxing waves of light through your body. Do so, maybe create a safe space. I call it a sacred space. In therapy, we call it a safe space, but in your imagination, we do this a lot in meditation. Here at Dragonfly, like, let's go to your sacred space. Like, maybe for you, that's just somewhere that feels beautiful and calm. Could be your favorite chair, could be your couch, could be the woods, a cabin, the beach, and then you let yourself just visit there. Okay, last one. I'm just about finished with training. I'll be done at the end of the month of traumatic energetic release. This is where a professional helps you remove blockages from your energy system. And we do it by revisiting either somatically, why is this, I have this pain in my chest, and we go from there and we use visualization to release it, or we actually go back to an event that you can identify was difficult for you, and we use visualization, we release it from your energy body, so it's actually gone, right? Instead of it being a block, imagine energy flowing just like a little waterfall, but then a rock gets in the middle of it, and that's your energy block, and now it can't flow. So we want to let that out. Yeah.
Is that like myofascial release?
Kind of similar, but there's no touching.
Okay.
It's all. Okay. It's really all talk, okay. Except it's not traditional therapy talk. You actually don't have to tell the practitioner what you're seeing or hearing at all. It's similar to EMDR. Okay. Yeah. Any questions? I've gone over by a few minutes. I'm sorry. No? Okay. If you do have any questions, feel free to come and ask me. If you're interested, I will be starting doing this traumatic energy releases here as a practice, and soon, and I can get you in touch with my teacher who's in Rochester, and Tony. He's amazing. Yeah. Okay.
I have a question. Is your presentation, is that available on your website?
I can see if Sarah can make it available.
Okay, because I'd like to, I mean, what I learned today, I
Yeah.
will forget when I probably walk out the door.
I know, right? Yeah, that's a good question. I'll ask Sarah if she
Okay,
can get it out.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, thanks so much. I think next at 11 o'clock is going to be cannabis for health and well-being. Well, thanks, everybody. I'll be here. Be well. Enjoy your day.
weird giving gifts on the way out.
Here, I'll grab you your stuff. I've done a lot of this already. Yeah, I'm gonna
Bridget, should I shut this off?
kind of like the same thing.
Do you want me to shut this off?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not gonna touch it.
It's still fine. I will leave it.
You can
We'll figure out another way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be back here.
I mean, and it's all different, all our different abilities are like the same thing, we're just talking to different. Like you're not in certain people, like you're gonna talk about like a more religious spectrum, like where people's beliefs are, you know, how you different beliefs that aren't really yours, to believe in anyway. Yeah. Go out. You know, when he was talking, you think that while you're like, oh no, that's not for now, we're gonna have all these beliefs. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, well, I mean, I like the gems a lot. Whatever, I, you know, have a bunch and I have a whole lot. Usually carry them around and hand them to people. Brooch skirts. Also, place in psychiatric. I mean, those are cool.
Yeah.
Summer public or so usually go to like my clients. And just like, I'm like,
Yeah. I feel like when Jenny's in town, I go to her, you know, yeah.
Yeah,
Just so we can get our,
yeah.
I
I
will
like all that
let's
stuff.
be in touch,
Me
'cause
too.
I know it might
My
be,
daughter thinks I'm
I'm
crazy.
like,
I mean, like, that's okay. You
Yeah.
don't have to convince me.
No.
Yeah, she'll,
Okay.
and she'll learn on her own, you know.
Sarah, what is the price
Did
of,
you do like?
you know,
for readings, it's 45 for each.
No.
and 90?
No, I,
Yes.
we're in, Labor Day.
Michelle's got openings, Carolyn has some
So,
spirit animal
citrus,
later.
which is the yellow.
Okay.
So,
Okay, yeah,
that, and your back left